Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Melissa. I'm your host, Melissa. Cheers. Love me a great tasting cup of coffee. Anyways, this morning I want to share my journey with you, how I went from a very, very anxious person to a much more mellow, calm, laid back person. Okay. Now, I just want to give you a full disclaimer. It was challenging, and I'm still on this journey. I still have my anxiety and depression challenges at times. However, I have tools in my toolbox to help me overcome anxiety and depression when it kind of sneaks up on me. Sometimes it's expected, other times it's completely unexpected, and I feel like I'm blindsided by it. So, and I'll share that with you, talk a little bit about that too. But I always felt anxious as a kid. I was always sensitive. I remember like going to slumber parties and stuff and just being super sensitive when, being made fun of. And I mean, as a teenager, I had really bad acne, junior high and high school, really bad, to where this, my neighbor friend across the street, he was so mean. We called him the Runt. His name was Eric. And now he obviously grew up to be a great man, but he just in junior high, he just was acting up a lot with, for good reason, but because of what was happening in his life. However, he had nicknamed me Pizza Face. I used to get called Pizza Face, and I was very insecure. I was just such an anxious child. And then in high school, I got involved in a weight training program, and I was always active as a kid too. So I was always like, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. We rode bikes outside. We played tag. We ran around with our friends. We got dirty. We didn't have cable TV for, I can't even remember how long. And then my parents eventually got us the original Nintendo console, and that was exciting. But we also were limited on our screen time. It wasn't just, my parents didn't use it as a way to entertain ourselves, when they were busy doing other things. Like they're like, no, go outside, play with your friends, run around. Those are the memories from my childhood. And my husband and I talk about that too. He's 5 years older than me, but he still grew up in the 80s and 90s too. So he knows, he had the same kind of lifestyle. It's like, go outside, play with your friends and have fun, get dirty. We used to drink from the hose, for crying out loud, And by the way, I saw a meme like a few months ago when this whole pandemic started that I think it said something. It was one of them, a couple memes. I think one of them had said like, we drank from the hose as a child if you grew up in the 80s. So I think we can make it through this pandemic. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, totally. There's another one with the reusable garage, or like, not garage, but like the gas station hand towels that would just go through that thing. And granted, it probably sanitized them and cleaned them, and they probably swapped them out. But it's like, come on. Looking back, it's like, that was really bad. But we survived. So anyways, just a fun little throwback to the 80s. But I just felt very anxious. And in high school, so I was very active. I ran track, I took weight training class, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. And that's when I really became fascinated with the fitness aspect. However, I ate crappy. We would go to Taco Bell for lunch. We had an open campus, so we were able to go, and there were tons of fast food restaurants just within miles, a few miles from the high school I went to. So we would go and get Taco Bell, Jack in the Box, McDonald's, and it was awful, horrible food. And I ate it every day, but I was in really good shape because I was very active. I had a high metabolism, so it didn't show. But looking back, so anyways, okay, looking back, I know hindsight's always 2020, but when I got into college, I was in a relationship that wasn't a good fit for me. We broke up. I was devastated. But throughout college, was still active. I still worked out. I actually worked at a gym for about a year and a half, like 3 semesters in college, the gym on the campus at the university I went to. And so I got a free membership, and, and that's where I really fell even more in love with the idea of pursuing health and fitness as a career. So anyways, this relationship ended and I was just devastated. I just went into a really bad depression, graduated from college, moved out on my own, and just my anxiety levels were still high. I was partying a lot and just wasn't really taking good care of myself, but I was still exercising, which, yeah, it helped a little bit, but the rest of my lifestyle habits were not very good. And here's the thing, you guys, I love vegetables. I've always loved vegetables. I've always loved eating salads, but I just I was eating a lot of highly processed food, way too much of it alongside the vegetables. So anyways, fast forward to 2010, I end up moving to Southern California, moved in with my cousin, and I just thought, you know what, I just need a fresh start. My instincts were just telling me, like, you need a fresh start, Melissa. Just go move. The opportunity, all these doors all of a sudden started to open for me, finally seeing my dream of moving to Southern California to be near the beach, actually living here, not just visiting, was like my vision for that was like coming into fruition. So it was happening. So I moved down here and I get a job in insurance, and it was really great. And I ended up moving offices though after like 8 months, because the office I was at, it was far away, and I just it wasn't really a good fit for me. So I moved to a closer office that was a better fit for me, and it was amazing. It was great. And then I met my husband, and we went out, and he had asked me out, and we went to the Four Seasons and just met after dinner for drinks, and we sat down, and we started learning more about each other, and he's like, yeah, so I do this primal paleo. I live a primal paleo lifestyle. And I was like, I don't know what that means. This was 2012, before paleo was big and keto was big, and I was like, I don't know what that means. Tell me more what that means. And so he said, okay, for example, I had bacon and eggs for dinner, and I cooked the eggs in the bacon grease, and then I poured the bacon grease on the eggs, and I was like, oh my God, that is flippin' disgusting. Who is this guy? Of course I didn't say that to him. I was like, oh my God, who is this guy? And then the more he started to tell me, he's like, it's just about eating whole real foods, moving your body frequently, getting adequate sleep, getting adequate sunshine, using more natural products. And at this time, I was a Mary Kay consultant, which I love Mary Kay. I love the business opportunity. I love the environment. The community is flippin' amazing. So we continue dating. Obviously, we're married now, but so we continue dating. And at the time, I was training for my first half marathon, and he kind of nudged me. He never pressured me or anything, but he just said, hey, if you want to learn more about the lifestyle, I can teach you some tips on how to make your workouts more efficient while doing less training. And that piqued my interest. That really piqued my interest. And so after, I think we'd been dating a month or so, he was getting ready to go out of town for a week. And I said, we were at dinner, I remember, and I sat down and I said, okay, teach me everything. I will do exactly what you tell me to do. And he said, okay. He gave me a book, Mark Sisson's The 21-Day Total Body Transformation. And he said, read this when I'm gone. It's a quick read. And then when we get back, I don't think he said these words, but this is basically what he said. I will coach you through the process. Basically, he was offering to be my coach. And I was like, all right, great, sign me up. So anyway, so he goes on vacation. I read the book cover to cover that whole week, and he comes back. I'm like, okay, tell me what to do. So I started doing it. He's like, okay, now eliminate this. And, oh, what can I replace it with? So for milk, like cow's milk, okay, replace it with almond milk, okay? Now I was really I liked having like a couple fried eggs in the morning for breakfast and toast with butter, cinnamon, and sugar, jelly, whatever I was in the mood for. And he said, okay, well, instead of buying regular bread, try gluten-free bread. And he really walked me through just tiny changes, small steps, small changes, okay? And then after a couple weeks, okay, now we're gonna go do a workout Saturday morning, which that was one thing that I loved in the beginning of our relationship, is that we worked out together. So he taught me how to work out less, how to train less, but get more out of my workouts. And I was like, this is amazing. So he said, okay, I remember the first time we did a Saturday morning workout, I can't remember if it was a really difficult hike, if it was the sand dune or what it was, but he said, don't eat breakfast. I was like, what? He said, you could have coffee and water, but don't eat breakfast. I said, oh my God, this is crazy. What? I need fuel. And anyways, long story short, I didn't eat breakfast, and I slowly kind of eased into fasting more before my workouts in the morning. And then I just all of a sudden fell in love with it. I felt better, like physically. I had more energy. I had more mental clarity. I noticed my anxiety was less, okay? I was sleeping better because I was not eating the crappy processed food anymore. And yeah, and it was just all these little things, like long story short, and now, and it was amazing. And all of it was all about doing a personal experiment. Because I'd be like, all right, well, I'm really kind of feeling like this. I'd be like, all right, well, okay, that's obviously not working for you, so let's do this. And we still do it for each other to this day. Like, he's my health coach, and I'm his health coach, and you know, we go to each other for advice on like, hey, this isn't working for me. Or he'll say, do you want to experiment with carnivore or keto? You know, and we'll do it together. And then I'll be like, oh my God, this is not working for me. Oh, I feel so depressed because I was doing carnivore, mostly carnivore and keto. And I just need those healthy starchy carbs like potatoes, the root vegetables, all the root vegetables. I need those in my diet to really thrive. And he doesn't. He loves to eat them, and he knows that there's nutrients in them, but he feels better without them. So anyways, I just want to share with you my journey. My journey has been one, and I think everyone should be like this, is it's all an experiment. It's all one big life experiment. And I'm still making tweaks as I'm getting older. I'm going to be 40 next March. And so my hormones are changing, and I get that. I understand that. Instead of being frustrated, and which at times I do get frustrated, but instead of letting that frustration overcome me and overwhelm me, I'm like, no, I got this. I just got to keep making small tweaks to my eating style, my sleeping habits. And one other thing, speaking of sleep, that has really helped me reduce my anxiety and go from very anxious to calm is sleep. When I don't get sleep, ooh, wow. Now it's better when I don't get sleep because I'm eating healthy and I'm moving and I just feel better overall. The rest of my life is usually dialed in even when I don't get enough sleep. But man, sleep is huge. If you have anxiety issues, depression issues, get your sleep. Go to bed at a reasonable time, wear amber colored glasses at night if you're watching TV. And yeah, just really focus on sleep, 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 and then everything else will fall into place. And now, like I said, I still have challenges with anxiety and depression on occasion, but a lot of it has to do with life circumstances. You know, if like this pandemic in the beginning, I was like, and we have a lot happening right now. We're doing a van build out. We're getting ready to move into it. We're doing all these things. We're making these big life changes. So of course, that's going to cause some anxiety. But I feel better because I feel like my cortisol levels, my stress levels are not constantly high. They're high for a short period of time, especially now, but they're not constantly high anymore. And I love that. I feel calm. I'm able to relax. And it just feels so nice. So, if you want to learn more about my journey, the more specifics of it, or you want to go from anxious to calm, let's set up a time to chat. Just email me at melissa@honeybee.kitchen and we'll get it all set up and we'll see if health coaching is good for you or if my self-paced program is good for you, whatever's group coaching, whatever it is, that's the whole purpose of a discovery call, for us to get to know each other and for me to learn more about what you're looking for. So I promise you, you can go from anxious to calm just by making small tweaks and having patience. All right, guys, I hope my story inspired you. I love hearing other people's stories. So, all right, enjoy your day. I'll see you soon.